Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be part 2 of why you should start a cybersecurity career. I'll also be linking below the videos I made for why you shouldn't start a career in cybersecurity, just to give you the full picture. Okay, so the first reason I have on this list is the amount of job security that is generally within most cybersecurity fields. So there's an article out there that mentions that there are going to be 3.5 million cybersecurity jobs going unfilled by 2030, and job security is always something to consider when you're looking for the best career for you. Typically, cybersecurity isn't going to be the team that gets cut because obviously companies are still going to need their cybersecurity personnel even during times of recession or during times of uncertainty, because obviously the hackers aren't just going to stop. So I would say cybersecurity in general, as well as out of many tech roles, is going to have probably some of the highest job security that you will see. And of course, that also comes with being able to find jobs, whether you're looking to switch careers or whether you're looking to get a bump in your salary or whether you're looking just to try something new. There are always going to be cybersecurity jobs looking to hire, especially for skilled or very niche roles in cybersecurity. Okay, so number 2, you guys would probably have already guessed that this would be on the list, and that is the ability to work from home or work remotely. So if you guys have been following along in my career updates or job updates, you know that I recently started a new role in cybersecurity, and in my previous role, my employer actually wanted me back full-time, 5 days in the office, and that was no longer something that I was interested in anymore, and I didn't think it was necessary for my career growth or my personal career goals. And when I was looking for new jobs to apply to, which I will link some videos on the screen of my job search experience as well as my experience interviewing, but I actually found that a lot of cybersecurity roles that I was looking at had remote jobs or were hybrid. So if you're someone who is looking to get a fully remote job, then I would definitely recommend looking now, because it really is the hot time for kind of people to switch around careers. And I noticed a lot of people switching jobs and specifically going into fully remote jobs. And I'm sure you already know a lot of jobs in tech are going to be the ones that are a lot easier to transition into full-time working remote. But I think that cybersecurity is also very niche in that way, because you'll find many cybersecurity roles specifically hiring for full remote, because there honestly is just a lack of talent and a lack of people applying to these jobs, because there's so many cybersecurity jobs that are just going unfilled that they're more likely to allow you to work remote or have fully work from home jobs out there. So definitely something to keep in mind if that's something you're interested in. And I know a lot of you guys have mentioned in the comments that you want to work remote. Okay, so the next thing on this list is the fact that there are lots of ways to grow in your career, whether it's through certifications, whether it's through courses or advanced degrees, or just regular old capture the flag events and challenges. I'm a personal believer that a lot of the resources that you need to succeed in your cybersecurity career is actually just out there for free on YouTube or on various course websites. Now, of course, there are paid ones like Udemy and boot camps, but for the most part, you can find a lot of this info online for free. And my favorite resource is actually just YouTube videos. I do a lot of learning just on YouTube, and it's all free. So I do think that's definitely something to note, because if you want to learn a new skill, for example, if you want to learn more about containers or how to secure a container or different technologies around that, for example, Kubernetes or Docker, then for those technologies, you could pretty easily find a course just on YouTube that probably can already give you that beginner foundational knowledge that you need to be able to get started and understand how to secure a containerized environment. And of course, all the certifications out there, cybersecurity is probably one of the most heavily certified areas in tech, just because a lot of regulations and policies are out there. And the best way for companies to identify which person to hire basically is by looking at their certifications or even any security clearances that you might have, because those are all going to be relevant on the job. And it's one of the best ways to prove your skills in that area. Number 4 on this list is, obviously I'm going to include this, but it is the fact that you have relatively high average salaries across cybersecurity in general. So I've made many videos on cybersecurity salaries, and a lot of the roles specifically in cybersecurity, you can come out of a bootcamp or come out of a bachelor's program and already have a salary that is above the median US household income. And obviously that is a lot of money, considering a lot of college graduates do not graduate college coming out with a salary of even close to the US median household income. So definitely something to note if you're someone who is thinking about salaries, because I think that's one of the most important things to consider in your career. And I'm not saying that money is everything, but I do think it's an important factor when you're deciding what city you're going to be living in, what sector you're going into, as well as the roles that you're applying for. Salary is obviously going to be very important in the long term, and where you start in terms of your first job out of college or out of a boot camp is also going to be very important to kind of lead you down that trajectory of where your salary is going to go. Okay, number 5 on this list is the amount of mobility that you have in cybersecurity, whether it's you wanting to work in a different country or you wanting to work in a different sector. There are many professionals in cybersecurity who move around because their skills and their expertise are well needed across the world internationally in various different countries and sectors. For example, if you're working in cybersecurity and you're currently in the US, but you plan on maybe one day working in Europe or moving to Europe for a short-term or long-term amount of time, you can most likely find a job in that new country. And a lot of it really just comes down to being able to learn that country's policies around data privacy and everything that has to do with security and technology. But all the other hard skills that you have, whether it's as a security analyst or a pen tester, a digital forensics analyst, malware analyst, all of these skills are hard skills that are going to be transferable across countries, even if you're not working in the country that you learned those skills in. And for me personally, I'm also someone who is interested in eventually working abroad somewhere. I don't really know exactly where yet, but I do think that it's very nice to be in a sector or a field where I'm able to think about where I could work even outside of the US. And because a lot of companies in the US also have an international presence as well as international cybersecurity teams, there can also be opportunities to switch around in the same company that you're already in. And a lot of the senior leaders that I've met in cybersecurity, many of them actually had careers that expanded outside of one country, and that actually gave them that competitive advantage of having experience in multiple different countries and being able to understand how to deal with those international boundaries or lack of boundaries for cybersecurity. So I do think it's very valuable experience, especially if that's something that you are considering or just want to do in the future. Okay, so the next thing on this list is being able to transition to cybersecurity consulting or working for yourself. So I think one thing that really came out of this global pandemic is just the fact that a lot of people have really started their own side hustles or just doing some contractor work on the side. And I think that's really where a lot of work in the future is going to go. You may have a full-time job, but you may also have something like a passion project that you're interested in. And one thing that lots of small companies and people hiring for is going to be cybersecurity skills. And if you're in cybersecurity, something you can get into is security consulting or IT consulting for organizations. You can even do this as a fun side project, volunteering for a nonprofit if that's something that you're passionate about. But essentially your skills are transferable to creating your own business, and that's definitely not something that you get out of every sector, whether it's in technology or elsewhere. And I also think in the future this would be something that I would be personally interested in, whether it's trying out some kind of freelance security consulting for myself, or maybe just doing general cybersecurity consulting for more of a contractor company. So basically, there's a lot of flexibility in your career in terms of personal IT consulting. What's great about that is that it can be flexible to your schedule. For example, you can take on as much work as you want, or you can take on part-time work. And it really depends on what area you are in life and how much time you have to dedicate to your work. And that's the kind of flexibility that I also personally enjoy. So it's definitely one of the pros of working in cyber. Okay, so the last thing that I have on this list for you guys is the ability to be able to transition into multiple different specializations in cybersecurity. So maybe you're someone who has multiple different interests. Maybe you want to go into digital forensics and malware prevention, and you're also interested in pen testing or red team. And maybe eventually you want to go into purple team. And basically those are standalone careers on their own. But if you're in cybersecurity, obviously it is actually very beneficial to know all of these things with a wide breadth of knowledge, because everything in cybersecurity really does link together. And at the end of the day, how much information you know is going to be how well you can protect your organization or whatever data or customers that you are protecting. So it's actually highly encouraged to kind of jump around and see various different areas in cybersecurity. For example, if you're a software developer, you typically will probably stick to a full stack developer or a iOS or an Android developer. But for cybersecurity, you are pretty much encouraged to switch around and try different roles, try different career paths. And if you find something that you like, then you kind of stick with that. And then later on, you can always expand and go into a different area that you might not have experience in, but maybe interested in. And I really saw that a lot in my cybersecurity rotational program that I was in my first job. I basically had 3 or maybe 3.5 different jobs during those 2.5 years. And I really learned a lot across the board, working in pen testing as well as being a security engineer, getting into a bunch of Python scripting, getting into cybersecurity strategy, as well as IT governance and all the things that have to do with those areas. So basically just learning a lot about a lot in a short amount of time, and that is really how I like to learn and how I want to take my career forward. So if you're someone who is, also interested in kind of jumping around, trying a whole bunch of different things, and knowing at the end of the day it makes you a more well-rounded security professional, then I would definitely recommend going this route. Because first of all, you just get to learn a lot and work on a lot of interesting projects. And a lot of cybersecurity does involve cross-functional teams. So you could be working with the development teams, the sales teams, the design team. You'll be working with the legal side. There's just so many things that involve cybersecurity that you don't really think about until you're on the job. And once you're in it, you really see how much cybersecurity touches across an organization, because obviously data technology is really what runs organizations these days, and they need people who are skilled enough to be able to protect that data and those stakeholders. And in terms of working remotely, I do believe that a lot of the world is going to transition into this mode of working, because a lot of companies and a lot of employees specifically are finding that they are either just as productive or oftentimes more productive while they're at home in their own space, working from their own desks and their own laptops, and just being able to have better work-life balance in that way. Because first of all, there's no commute to the office that takes up to 1 hour to 2 hours a day for many people. You don't have to go into the office, run to your doctor's appointment, and then run back to the office, especially if your doctor's office is closer to your home. So all of those inconveniences are really just time given back to employees and the companies. And I believe there are also studies out there that show that a lot of this time is also given back to the employer, which really just gives back more time to be productive, focused on work, and actually getting things done. So I really think it's a win-win on both sides, especially if there is technology and a culture set up to be able to let employees and people in general thrive in that work from home environment. Because a lot of potential candidates are applying nowadays to either fully remote jobs or hybrid jobs. Alright, so that's it for this video. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions for me, as well as any pros of working in cybersecurity that you've experienced and want to add to this list in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe and turn on post notifications. I post videos every Wednesdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. Eastern, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!